Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, Planning on Purpose. Today we are going to close out the month of May. I know that we are a little bit early in the month of May before it ends, but I wanted to do this video just to give you an example of what it looks like to close out a month. This is the first time that I'm actually going through this exercise. This is something that I do on a regular basis on my own personal budget. This is not my personal budget. This is just something that I'm using as a template, as a guide, as inspiration for the purpose of this video. So the numbers are very loose, but you will get the gist of how to close out your budget once we're done. I am using the same worksheets that I used in my previous video. So these worksheets are from the Budget Mom, this monthly worksheet. And then my calendars are from, I just got them online. They were free templates and I printed them out for the year and then I used them for my budget. So in my last video, I walked you through how to actually set up a budget. And I walked you through how to set up a budget for a pay period that crosses over into the next month. That is more than often the case where we do have a paycheck that carries over into the next month. And so if you want details on that video, if you want to know how I came up with the color codes and all the steps that we went through, I will link that video in my description box below. So make sure that you go in and you click on that link and watch the video because it is very useful. It's pretty straightforward. It's a great video for beginners and it's really easy to use. No frills, no fancy things, no fancy Google Sheets, no fancy Excel sheets. It is just pencil to paper and really good visuals. So we're going to be using a calculator today. I have some writing utensils, my usual suspects here. Today I am using the Pilot G2 and just giving you a really quick review of what I did last month. So we're saying that for the month of May, we were working with an income of $8,000. We had two sources of income. We have paycheck number one and paycheck number two. And we're saying this is the total amount that we have to use for the month of May. Now, here is the actual budget sheet from the Budget Mom. I will link her page below as well, so try to go and check that out if you are interested in any of her free printables. She has an amazing list of free printables. I don't know if this one's on there. I want to say that I actually purchased this printable from her and I believe it was $2 or $3 and I've been using it ever since. So it is definitely worth the $2 or $3 in my opinion because I have used it for the last 2 years and it works for me. So if you like this look, if you like the way this layout is, go to her page, pay for the digital download. You'll have it within seconds and it's for you to use for however long you have that PDF. Okay, so we are saying that we have 5 categories for the month of May and they are color coded. Those categories are income, fixed expenses, debt, savings, variable expenses, and sinking funds. For the purpose of May, we are not doing sinking funds. So you will not see the color pink on here. That's why you only see these 5 categories. And just so you know, we're not going to see a lot of variation and change in this category or in this category. I don't even believe we'll see it much over here. Where we're going to see the bulk of the changes and the updates will be in this variable expenses. Please go back and watch my video that I did on how I set this up because that walks you through how did we come up with these numbers? How did we get those numbers out of this page and put them on a calendar so that it looks like this? It's a very useful video, so please go and check that out. All right, now, I don't want to make this video super long. I want to keep it concise and to the point. So I am going to zoom in on you here so that you can see just a little bit closer what I am doing and how I am actually putting these numbers in here. So we are saying that in fixed expenses, if you did your budget correctly, these amounts stay the same month to month. They're pretty static, they're fixed. They may fluctuate by a couple of cents, maybe $1 and some change, but pretty much they are steady and true month to month. So let's go and complete this this spend column here. For the purpose of this video, we are focusing on the spend column in each section because we want to see if this is what we budgeted. Remember, we did a zero-based budget. So we want to see that every dollar that we gave a job to, did we actually use that dollar in each section? And then we'll see if we're a little bit higher or lower, or where those fluctuations are. And then we'll see how we do, right? We'll see where we need to add money to another category, or are we over budget? So let's walk through this. All right, so we're saying for fixed expenses, if we did this correctly, then all of these amounts pretty much stay the same, right? Because we know how much we're paying month to month in every single bill that we have in the fixed expenses category. So just transferring this over, and we're saying for the month of May, we actually spent $2,800 for the month of May for fixed expenses. So we budgeted correctly because that is the amount that we actually spent. Okay. And then over here for student loans, remember, if you are trying to get out of debt, it's important that you focus on your debt category. So this is not an area that we want to play around with too much. We kind of want to stick to these amounts so that we can decrease our debt per month. So we're saying definitely we sent $500 towards our student loans, and we definitely paid $800 towards all of our credit cards. Now, if you are doing this budget for yourself, I generalized and put just one category of credit cards. If you are doing this as your personal budget, I do not recommend that you do this. I recommend that you list every single credit card out, how much you're budgeting to actually send them, and versus what you actually did send them, right? And I walk through that in my video where I go into a full detail of how I set this up. But this is how I wanted to explain further why this category just says credit cards and it doesn't actually list the number of credit cards that you would have. That would make this video longer. It would have made my other video longer than what it already was. And there was just no need for that. So you get the gist of it. So when you're going to do your own budget, make sure you list all of your credit cards out. Okay. So I have a Halls in my mouth, by the way, in case anyone hears me talking funny. I have a little tickle in my throat. I've been coughing a lot the last 24 hours. And so I apologize in advance because I may cough again, just letting you know. Okay. Over here, this is where trouble happens. And I'm speaking from experience. But this is what I love most about doing a budget, because you can actually see the beginning of the month, you have high hopes. You're saying, this is the guide, this is the amount, these are the amounts that I'm actually going to budget and that I have to use for the month of May. Now let's see if we actually did spend that money. For gas, it was going to be $200 for the month, and we said every Sunday we're going to fill up our tank, $50, and we did. So the budget for gas, we budgeted $200 and we actually spent $200. For groceries, we said that we were going to budget $500, but instead we found some really good sales. The kids had shorter weeks in school or shorter days in school, and so they didn't need as much in terms of lunches, and we were able to save a little bit of money. So we actually only spent $450. And you guys, these are fake scenarios, by the way, but for some families, it could hold true. So we did not spend $500, we actually spent $450. Lunch and coffee, I didn't have to spend lunch and coffee because we had a couple of celebrations at work. They had catered lunch. I really didn't need to bring in a lunch, pay for lunch, or even pay for a coffee. And so instead of me putting $100 towards lunch and coffee, I actually only needed, let's say, $75. Okay? For eating out, we budgeted $600. Mother's Day was mixed in that, Memorial Day, etc. So we said we're going to need $600 for eating out. But in fact, we didn't end up going out to dinner for Mother's Day. We ended up going to brunch. So we actually saved some money there because brunch is a lot cheaper than dinner. And so instead of spending $600 for eating out, we actually only spent $450. All right. And this is what you will be doing. This is how you're going to approach your budget month to month. You're going to look at each item and you're going to ask yourself, this is what I think, or this is what I thought I was going to spend, but how much did I actually spend now that the month is coming to a close? On Amazon, I told myself I was only going to purchase $100 worth of gifts on Amazon, but I actually needed to order a couple of extra things that I could not find in the stores, or I didn't have time to go shopping in the store. And so I actually ended up spending $125 instead of $100 on Amazon. So I went over budget by $25. For gifts, I said I was going to spend $150 on gifts, and I actually spent $175. So I went over by $50, both on Amazon and my gifts collectively in comparison to the budget. So it was $25 here and $25 here that I went over. For car maintenance, I was budgeting $100. I found a coupon that I could use, and they were offering some free services, so I didn't need to spend $100 on my car maintenance. I actually only spent $50 on my car maintenance for that month. Self-care, got my nails done, definitely spent $50 on that. And then for miscellaneous, I had $100 budgeted for miscellaneous, but I actually didn't need to use this. And so I only used $50 of this miscellaneous, and that was because I needed to buy a couple of things around the house, some household items that I forgot to add to my grocery bill. And so I used the money from miscellaneous towards those household items. And then over here, I actually only spent $75. So I was a little under budget for the miscellaneous. So let's add this up and let's see how it compares to the $1,900 that we actually budgeted for. Let's see if we went over or if we're under budget for the month of May in our variable expenses. So we're saying $200. Put this here. 450, 75, plus 450, plus 125, plus 175, plus 50, plus 50, plus 75, brings us to $1,650. So we are under budget in our variable expenses. And that means even though we went over budget in two categories here for Amazon and gifts, we were still under budget in a few of the other categories. And so what is the difference of these two amounts? So we're saying $1,900 minus $1,650. We have a difference of $250 that we have left over from our variable expenses. I'm going to erase this because that looks hideous. So we have an overage of $250. That's a great thing. This is the beauty of budgeting. You can actually see how much you're spending. And if you have any money left over, you know, rule of thumb, right? If we are on a zero-based budget and we are trying to get out of debt, we are not going to go ahead and spend this money. Because remember, we gave every single dollar a job. So we accounted for every single expense and everything that we thought we would need money for the month. And so we are at the end of the month, and because we have $250 left over, we're not just going to go ahead and loosely spend this money and go party and now, you know, be a little bit careless. No, we're going to show restraint, and we are going to take this $250 and we are going to apply it in another category that will serve us long term. Okay, so for emergency funds, we were able to actually contribute $2,000 to the emergency fund. So this one stays whole as well. So of the $8,000 that we had, let's do the totals again. We're saying 2,800 plus 1,650 plus 1,300 plus 2,000. That gets us to $7,750 plus the 250. Sorry, my light just went out. I guess it died. I truly apologize. All right. So 7,750 plus 250 gets us to 8,000. And so where are we going to apply this extra $250? Right over here. This is where we're going to apply it. So you're going to look at your credit cards, because as you know, there's an avalanche method and a snowball method. Whichever one that you're doing, I also have videos that I did on those two processes and those two setups. Go check out those videos. I will also add them in the link below into my comments. So if you want to look at those, they're pretty short, but definitely check them out to show you the difference in the two and see which one you want to tackle. But I would say understanding which budget method you're using, if it's going to be the avalanche or the snowball, and seeing where you're going to add this $250. But either way, I would apply it somewhere over here, preferably into credit cards. So you're going to take this $250 with a few days that we have left in May, and you're going to take that and pay that towards either your credit card that has the highest interest or your credit card that has the lowest interest that you want to pay off. Okay, or for the snowball method, it would be your credit card that you have the highest balance in, and pay that off. I just said that wrong. The snowball method is taking your credit card that has the lowest amount due on it and paying those least amount credit cards off first. The avalanche method is taking credit cards that you have the highest interest payments on and tackling those first. So it's kind of just the opposite effect. But whichever way you go, if you've already identified which credit card payoff method you're going to use, take that $250 and apply it towards whatever that credit card is, because that will get you out of debt even faster. All right, friends, that is all that I have for you for today. I just wanted to close out the month of May. I wanted to show you how that's done and how easy it is to go back and look at your budget and close everything out and seeing what you have left over or what you have over. So if you had dollars that were over, so if you were over budget in any of these categories, you may want to ask, so how am I going to pay that off? I don't have any money left because I said I was going to do a zero-based budget. There is some flexibility, right? And so if I were you, I would definitely take a little bit of money out of my emergency fund, and I would use the money in here to pay for that overage. I would not sacrifice taking money out of here, because the ultimate goal is to be, debt free. So I would look at the emergency fund and I would try to take money out of there to pay for anything that I was over budget on. But we're not doing that because we're being mindful of how we spend our money, and we are keeping a close eye on how and what we spend our money on, and we know where we've been over or we know where we're under. And so doing this exercise definitely helps. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. My little light went out. I'm sorry that it got dark on us all of a sudden, but wanted to get this video out to you and done. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm wishing you all a wonderful week, and thank you for being here. Until the next one. Adios.